Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. Introduction. Imagine a man, W. Mitchell. At 65 miles an hour, his life changes in a flash of twisted metal and searing flame. A motorcycle accident leaves 3/4 of his body scorched by third-degree burns. He fights back, rebuilds his life, and becomes a successful businessman, only for fate to strike again. An airplane crash paralyzes him from the waist down, for life. Now, picture another man. John Belushi. By his early 20s, he's a star. A comedic genius who can light up any room, any screen, any stage. He has everything: fame, wealth, homes, friends, a loving wife. He's the man who can make the entire world laugh. If you had to choose one of these lives, which would it be? The choice seems obvious, doesn't it? But here's the twist. W. Mitchell, the man who endured unimaginable pain, went on to become a millionaire, a beloved public speaker, and even ran for Congress with the slogan, "Send me to Congress, and I won't be just another pretty face." He found deep love and lived a life of incredible joy and contribution. John Belushi, the man who seemingly had everything, died at just 33 years old from a drug overdose, his immense talent and light extinguished by years of inner turmoil. Externally, he had it all. Internally, he'd been running on empty for years. So what is it? What is the difference that makes the difference? Why can one person take the absolute worst life can throw at them and build a masterpiece, while another, given every advantage, ends in tragedy? That is the single most important question you can ever ask. And it's the question a young man named Anthony Robbins became obsessed with. Not long ago, he was just a kid, living in a tiny 400-square-foot apartment, washing his dishes in the bathtub, overweight, and with little hope for the future. Yet within a few short years, he completely transformed his own life, becoming healthy, happy, and incredibly successful, counseling world leaders and top athletes from his castle overlooking the Pacific Ocean. How did he do it? He discovered that success isn't an accident. It's not magic, and it's not luck. He found that there is a science to achievement, a set of powerful, learnable tools that allow you to take direct and deliberate control of your own mind, your own emotions, and your own life. He codified these tools in his groundbreaking book, Unlimited Power. Today, we are going to unpack that science. I'm going to share with you the core principles that took Tony Robbins from a life of struggle to one of mastery. And my promise to you is this: by the end of our time together, you will understand the fundamental mechanics of your own brain and body in a way you never have before. You won't just learn about power, you'll learn how to unleash the power that is already within you. Book summary. So, where do we begin this journey? We begin with the most fundamental truth of all human experience. Your life, right now, is a direct result of how you communicate. Not just with others, but most importantly, with yourself. Think about it. The quality of your life comes down to the quality of your emotions. When you feel ecstatic, confident, or filled with love, life feels extraordinary. When you feel frustrated, fearful, or depressed, life can feel unbearable. But where do those feelings come from? Most people think their feelings are a reaction to what's happening around them. A bad day at school, a fight with a friend, a failed test? These things happen to us, and so we feel bad. But Robbins reveals a profound secret. Nothing has any meaning except the meaning we give it. How you feel isn't about what happens to you. It's about your interpretation of what happens to you. It's the story you tell yourself. You are not your behaviors. You are not your emotions. You are the director of your own mind. You can create depression, and you can create ecstasy. The question is, how? What are the controls? Robbins discovered that at any moment, our experience of life is determined by our neurophysiological state, or simply, our state. A state is the sum total of what's happening in your mind and your body at any given moment. There are resourceful states, like confidence, passion, joy, and determination, where you feel like you can conquer the world. And there are unresourceful states, like fear, confusion, and overwhelm, where even the simplest task feels impossible. Have you ever had a day where you were just on, where every joke you told landed, every conversation flowed, and you felt completely unstoppable? And have you had other days where you couldn't seem to do anything right, where you felt clumsy and awkward? You were the same person on both days. You had the same brain, the same body, the same history. The only difference was your state. The greatest achievers in the world are not people who are somehow gifted with more talent. They are simply masters of their own state. They have learned how to consistently put themselves into a resourceful state, no matter what is happening around them. So, this brings us to the next logical question. If our state controls our results, what controls our state? Robbins tells us there are two master controls, two levers you can pull at any time to immediately change the way you feel. The first, and most powerful lever, is your physiology. Your mind and body are not separate things, they are a deeply interconnected loop. You cannot have a change in one without an immediate change in the other. Your posture, your breathing, your facial expressions, your movements, these aren't just a result of how you feel, they are also the cause of how you feel. Think about what a depressed person looks like. Their shoulders are slumped, their head is down, their breathing is shallow, their movements are slow. They are physically creating the state of depression. It takes effort. Now, try something with me right now. I'm serious. Stand up. Pull your shoulders back. Put your head up high. Breathe deeply into your chest. Put a big, goofy smile on your face. I mean a really big one that makes your cheeks hurt. Now, in that posture, try to feel depressed. You can't do it, can you? It's impossible. Your brain is getting a direct, undeniable command from your body. We are strong. We are alert. We are happy. This is the fastest and most direct way to change your state. Before a big test, before asking someone out, before any moment where you feel fear or uncertainty, you can radically shift how you feel in seconds, just by changing your physical state. Act as if you are already confident. Act as if you have already succeeded. Stand the way you would stand. Breathe the way you would breathe, and your mind will follow your body's lead. This is the secret behind one of Robbins' most famous and misunderstood tools, the fire walk. He doesn't teach people to walk on fire because it's a useful life skill. He does it to prove a point in the most visceral, unforgettable way possible. The people who walk across those 15 feet of burning coals are the same people who, just hours earlier, believed it was absolutely impossible. What changed? He taught them how to take absolute control of their physiology. He taught them to change their breathing, their posture, and their focus until they were in a state of such absolute certainty that fear became irrelevant. The fire walk is a metaphor. It teaches you that what you once thought was a hard limit was actually just a limiting belief. And if you can do that, what else can you do? So, physiology is the first lever. It's immediate and incredibly powerful. The second lever to control your state is your internal representation, or, more simply, what you focus on and what you say to yourself. You can think of your mind as a movie theater. You are the director, and you have total control over what plays on the screen. You can choose the images, the sounds, the dialogue. If you want to feel terrible, you can play a movie of every mistake you've ever made. You can turn up the volume on your inner critic, the voice that tells you you're not good enough. You can make the images big, bright, and overwhelming. Or, you can choose to play a different movie. You can focus on a time you felt proud, a time you succeeded, a time you felt deeply loved. You can turn up the volume on the voice that says, "You can do this." You can make those positive images bigger, brighter, and more compelling than any negative thought. Successful people are masters of focus. When faced with a challenge, they don't focus on the problem. They focus on the solution. They don't dwell on what could go wrong. They envision what it will feel like when it goes right. W. Mitchell didn't focus on the fact that he was burned and paralyzed. He focused on the possibilities that were still open to him. He represented his situation not as a tragedy, but as an opportunity to show the world, and himself, what he was made of. So, we have our state, which is controlled by our physiology and our internal representations. But there is one more layer, a deeper force that acts as the master controller for both of these. It's the ultimate filter through which we experience the world. This is the power of belief. Beliefs are the commanders of your brain. When you believe something with absolute certainty, it's like giving an unquestionable order to your nervous system. Your beliefs determine what you focus on, how you interpret events, and what you decide is possible or impossible. There's an old saying, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right, and it's profoundly true. If you believe you're a bad student, how much of your potential will you tap into? How much effort will you put forth? Your belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you believe you can succeed, you send a different command to your brain. You tap into more of your potential. You take more massive and determined action. And those actions produce better results, which in turn reinforce your belief that you can succeed. This creates an upward spiral, a momentum of success. The story of the great cellist Pablo Casals is a stunning example of this. In his 90s, he was frail with arthritis and emphysema. Just getting out of bed was a painful struggle. His hands were clenched and swollen. But every morning, he would shuffle over to his piano. With great effort, he would place his stiff fingers on the keys. And then, a miracle would happen. As he began to play, his body transformed. His back straightened. His breathing became easy. His fingers, once clenched, would unlock and dance across the keyboard with the grace and power of a young virtuoso. His belief in the transcendent power of music literally changed his physiology. It commanded his body to become a vessel for excellence, overriding the physical limitations of his age. For a time, he wasn't an old frail man, he was pure music. Our beliefs aren't just abstract ideas, they are the architects of our reality. They can make us sick, and they can make us well. They can make us fail, and they can make us succeed. So, if our beliefs are so powerful, where do they come from? And more importantly, can we choose them? The answer is a resounding yes. The birth of excellence begins the moment you realize that your beliefs are a choice. You can choose beliefs that empower you, or you can choose beliefs that limit you. Robbins shares 7 fundamental beliefs that he has found in virtually every highly successful person he has ever modeled. He playfully calls them the 7 lies of success. Why lies? Because we don't know for certain if they are absolutely true about the universe. But we do know that they work. They are useful. They are empowering. Adopting them is like installing a new, high-performance operating system for your mind. Let's go through a few of them. Belief number 1. Everything happens for a reason and a purpose, and it serves us. Successful people believe that there are no mistakes, only lessons. Every adversity, every setback, contains the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. They don't see themselves as victims of circumstance. They see challenges as opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and better. This belief turns what others would call a problem into a gift. Belief number 2. There is no such thing as failure. There are only results. This is a game changer. What if you could never fail again for the rest of your life? This belief makes it possible. If you try something and you don't get the outcome you wanted, You haven't failed. You've just produced a result. You've learned what doesn't work. And that information is incredibly valuable. Thomas Edison didn't fail 9,999 times to invent the light bulb. He said he successfully discovered 9,999 ways not to make a light bulb. It's all in the framing. With this belief, you're free to take action without the fear of failure holding you back. Belief number 3, whatever happens, take responsibility. Great leaders and achievers believe they are the creators of their world. They don't blame circumstances. They don't blame other people. They don't blame fate. They believe that they are responsible for their results, good or bad. This isn't about blame, it's about power. If you are responsible, then you have the power to change things. If someone else is to blame, then you are a victim, and you are powerless. By taking responsibility, you reclaim your power to shape your destiny. These empowering beliefs are the foundation. But having a great belief system isn't enough. You need a strategy. You need a path to follow. This brings us to one of the most powerful ideas in the entire book, the concept of modeling. Robbins says that success leaves clues. People who have achieved excellence aren't just lucky, they do specific things, both mentally and physically, to produce their results. And if you can discover precisely what they do and do the same things, you can achieve the same results. This is the ultimate shortcut to success. Instead of spending years on trial and error, you can find someone who has already achieved what you want, whether it's becoming financially independent, being a great parent, or mastering a sport, and you can model them. You can compress decades of learning into days. So how do you model someone? Robbins breaks it down into 3 fundamental areas you must duplicate. First, you must model their belief system. What do they believe about themselves, about their work, about what's possible? We've already seen how crucial this is. Second, you must model their mental syntax. This is the specific way they organize their thoughts. It's the recipe they use in their mind. What do they picture? What do they say to themselves? And in what order? A phone number has 7 digits, but if you dial them in the wrong order, you won't get through. The same is true for our minds. There's a specific sequence of thoughts that produces motivation, another for creativity, another for love. A brilliant example of this is the spelling strategy. Robbins discovered that great spellers all use the same mental syntax. When they see a word, they don't try to sound it out. Instead, they look up and to their left and get a clear, vivid mental picture of the word. They see it in their mind's eye. Poor spellers, on the other hand, often try to spell by feeling or by sound, which is unreliable in English. When Robbins taught poor spellers to use the visual strategy of the good spellers, their abilities transformed, sometimes in a matter of minutes. He hadn't made them smarter, he just gave them a better strategy. The third thing you must model is their physiology. How do they use their body? How do they stand, breathe, and move when they are at their best? As we've learned, physiology is a direct line to state. This idea of modeling is how the science of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, was born. Its founders, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, set out to model the most effective therapists in the world. They wanted to know how these geniuses were able to create profound change in people so quickly. They discovered the specific patterns of language, focus, and behavior they used, and they codified them so that others could learn to produce the same miraculous results. NLP provides the specific how-to tools for running your own brain. And one of the most practical tools it offers is the understanding of submodalities. Submodalities are the building blocks of your internal representations. Think back to the movie director analogy. As the director of your mind, you can change the characteristics of your internal images and sounds. You can change their brightness, their size, their distance, their volume, their tempo. Have you ever had a negative memory that just keeps haunting you? A time you felt embarrassed or hurt? Take that memory and, in your mind, turn it into a small, black and white, out-of-focus picture. Now, push it far away until it's just a tiny dot. As you do that, notice how the feeling attached to it diminishes. You've just changed its submodalities, and in doing so, you've changed its power over you. Now think of a time you felt incredibly happy and successful. Take that memory and make the picture bigger, brighter, and more vibrant. Turn up the sounds. Bring it closer until it surrounds you. Feel how that intensifies the positive emotions. This is not just a mental trick. This is you taking conscious control of the coding in your own brain. You can systematically change how you feel about anything, from a craving for junk food to a fear of public speaking, simply by changing its submodalities. One of the most powerful NLP techniques that uses this principle is the swish pattern. It's a brilliant way to change unwanted habits or behaviors. First, you make a big, bright picture of the behavior you want to change. For example, you see yourself reaching for a cigarette. Then, in the bottom corner of that picture, you place a small, dark picture of how you would be if you had already changed. A picture of your desired self, for example. You see yourself as a vibrant, healthy, energetic non-smoker. Then, with an explosive whoosh of sound, you have that small picture of your desired self grow in size and brightness and literally smash through the old picture of the unwanted behavior. You repeat this process 5 or 6 times, faster and faster each time. Wash, wash, wash. What you are doing is creating a new neurological link in your brain. You're training your brain so that the very thought that used to trigger the old, unwanted behavior now automatically triggers the new, empowering representation of your desired self. The old pathway is neurologically short-circuited. It's a stunningly effective way to reprogram your own mind for success. All these tools, state management, belief change, modeling, submodalities, are the components of what Robbins calls the ultimate success formula. It's a simple 4-step process that lies at the heart of all achievement. Step 1. Know your outcome. You have to know, with absolute precision, what you want. Not a vague idea, but a crystal clear, sensory-rich vision. What will you see, hear, and feel when you have achieved it? Most people have no idea what they truly want, so they wander through life getting whatever comes their way. Achievers are clear and specific. Step 2. Take action. Knowing isn't enough. You must take massive, determined action. The most successful people are not the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who consistently take the most action. Step 3. Develop sensory acuity. As you take action, you must pay close attention to the results you're getting. Are your actions moving you closer to your goal or further away? You have to be able to notice the feedback the world is giving you. Step 4. Have the flexibility to change. This is the crucial step. If what you're doing isn't working, you must be willing to change your approach. You keep adjusting, keep adapting, keep trying new things until you get the outcome you desire. It's not about failure, it's about feedback and flexibility. Think of Steven Spielberg. As a teenager, he knew his outcome. He wanted to be a movie director. He took action by sneaking onto the Universal Studios lot. He developed sensory acuity by observing directors, writers, and editors, learning what worked. And he had flexibility. When a simple tour didn't get him where he wanted to be, he changed his approach, put on a suit, and walked past the guard as if he belonged there. He followed this formula until he became the most successful filmmaker in history. Now, once you've mastered your own inner world, how do you use these skills to connect with and influence others? This is where Robbins introduces the magic of rapport. Rapport is the feeling of total connection, trust, and understanding between people. It's the essence of all successful communication. and the fastest way to build it is to be like the other person. People like people who are like themselves. But this goes much deeper than just having common interests. Robbins explains that true rapport is built on a subconscious level by matching and mirroring another person's physiology and language. When you are with someone, subtly match their posture. Match their gestures. Match the tempo and tonality of their voice. Match their breathing rate. When you do this, you are sending a powerful, unconscious signal to their brain. I am like you. I understand you. It creates a deep and almost instant feeling of connection. This isn't about manipulation. When you are truly in rapport, you begin to experience the world from their point of view. It's the ultimate form of empathy. When you speak to people in their preferred language system, your message is received with much greater clarity and impact. You are literally speaking their language. Once you have established rapport by pacing their reality, you can then begin to lead them. You can gently change your own physiology, and they will subconsciously follow. You can lead them from an unresourceful state to a more positive one. This is the heart of all great leadership and influence. But even with perfect rapport, you'll find that different people are motivated by different things. To truly persuade, you need to understand their unique mental filters, what Robbins calls metaprograms. Metaprograms are the internal software people use to sort their experiences. For example, some people are motivated by moving toward a goal. They are inspired by what they will gain, pleasure, success, reward. Others are motivated by moving away from a problem. They are driven to avoid pain, failure, and trouble. If you try to motivate a move away from person by talking about all the wonderful things they will gain, it won't resonate. You need to frame it in terms of the problems they will avoid. Another key metaprogram is the frame of reference. Some people have an internal frame of reference. They know they've done a good job when it just feels right inside. They don't need outside approval. Others have an external frame of reference. They need feedback from others, praise, awards, statistics, to know they have succeeded. If you tell an internally referenced person, everyone says you're doing a great job, it won't mean nearly as much as saying, you must feel great about what you've accomplished. By understanding these and other metaprograms, you can tailor your communication to match the specific software of the person you're speaking with. You can bypass resistance and speak directly to what motivates them. Finally, at the deepest level of our being, our lives are guided by our values. Values are the things that are most important to us in life: love, freedom, security, adventure, contribution. They are our personal judgments about what makes life worth living. Everything we do in an attempt to move toward the emotional states we value, and away from the ones we wish to avoid. The challenge is that most of us are not consciously aware of our own value hierarchy. We don't know what's most important to us. And this can lead to inner conflict and unhappiness. You might value both success and freedom. But what if your idea of success means working 80 hours a week, and your idea of freedom means having time to travel and be with your family? That conflict will create a constant sense of frustration until you bring your values into alignment. To live a truly fulfilled life, you must first get clear on what your highest values are. Then, you must live your life in congruence with them. Real success is not about achieving some external goal. It's about the feeling of wholeness that comes from knowing that your actions are an expression of your deepest self. This is what Abraham Maslow meant when he said, "A musician must make music, an artist must paint, a poet must write, if he is to be ultimately at peace with himself." The tools in this book, state management, belief change, modeling, rapport, understanding values, are not just a collection of techniques. They are a complete system for living a life of excellence. They give you the ability to get clear on what you want, the power to take effective action, the flexibility to change what isn't working, and the wisdom to live in alignment with your deepest truths. And the ultimate purpose of all this power? Robbins concludes with a simple, profound truth. The secret to living is giving. True wealth and happiness don't come from what you get, they come from what you become and what you contribute. The skills of personal mastery are not just for you. They are a gift to be shared, a force to be used to lift up those around you, to make a positive difference in your family, your community, and the world. That is the ultimate challenge and the ultimate reward of living a life of unlimited power. Commentary. As we step back and look at the vast landscape of ideas within unlimited power, what truly stands out is not just the collection of techniques, but the profound shift in perspective it offers. This book was written by a man in his mid-20s, yet it carries the weight of a lifetime of wisdom. Its central message is one of radical personal responsibility and empowerment. It's a declaration that we are not the passive victims of our genes, our past, or our environment. We are the directors of our own minds, the sculptors of our own emotional worlds, and the captains of our own destiny. The most powerful lesson, for me, is the idea that excellence is a skill, not a gift. Success is not something reserved for a chosen few who were born with a special talent. It is a process, a strategy that can be learned, practiced, and mastered by anyone who is committed. This is an incredibly hopeful and democratic idea. It means that your past does not have to equal your future. No matter where you are right now, you have within you the capacity to change, to grow, and to create the life you truly desire. The book challenges us to move beyond simply positive thinking and into the realm of positive action. It's not enough to wish for a better life. You have to take control of the specific mental and physical mechanisms that create your results. The tools of NLP, like the swish pattern or changing submodalities, might sound strange at first, but they are incredibly practical. They are the user's manual for the human brain that we were never given. They demystify the process of change and make it a tangible, step-by-step procedure. So, how can you start applying these powerful ideas in your life, starting today? Let me offer 3 simple actions. First, for the next week, make a conscious commitment to mastering your physiology. The moment you feel yourself slipping into a negative or unresourceful state, frustration, boredom, worry, I want you to immediately change your body. Stand up tall. Breathe deeply. Put a smile on your face, even if you have to force it. Move your body with energy. Do this for just 2 minutes and notice the radical shift in how you feel. Make this your personal reset button. Second, begin to change the questions you ask yourself. Our lives are shaped by the questions we ask. Instead of asking disempowering questions like, "Why does this always happen to me?" or "What's wrong with me?" start asking empowering questions. Ask, "What can I learn from this? What's great about this situation? And most importantly, what do I want instead, and what can I do right now to move toward it?" This simple shift in focus will change the direction of your thoughts and, ultimately, your life. Third, get absolute clarity on one thing you want to achieve. Not 10 things, just one. Take out a piece of paper and write it down as a positive, specific outcome. Then, write down all the reasons why you must achieve it. Why is it important to you? What will it give you? Make your reasons so compelling that they create a burning desire within you. This is the fuel for massive action. That was a summary of Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins. We've explored the highlights today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only ever be a map. The real treasure is found when you journey into the territory yourself. The true magic of a book like this happens in the quiet moments of reading, when a particular story or a simple phrase sparks a new understanding within you. This summary is your guide, to help you decide if this is a journey worth taking. If anything we've talked about today has resonated with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see yourself and the world around you. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It lets us know that we're on the right track, and it ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.